Are you being told what to buy just because you're retired? I was, and I learned the hard way that not everything marketed to retirees is worth your money. At 70 years old, I've seen how easy it is to fall for products that promise peace of mind but deliver regret. Before you spend another dollar, let me show you 10 things you're told to buy in retirement that you truly don't need and what to do instead to protect your savings. 1. Expensive annuities with high fees. I remember when I first retired, I was invited to one of those free steak dinner seminars. You know, the kind, nice restaurant, friendly speaker, smiling staff. They talked about protecting your money, creating guaranteed income for life, avoiding stock market losses. It all sounded great. Then they introduced annuities. Now don't get me wrong, not all annuities are bad, but what they don't tell you is how complex, costly, and restrictive some of these products really are. The one they tried to sell me was a variable annuity with riders I didn't even understand. It came with high surrender charges, meaning if I wanted to access my own money early, I'd lose a big chunk of it. The fee's nearly 3% per year, and that's before taxes. They threw around big phrases like lifetime income guarantee and tax-deferred growth, but they buried the real details in 100 pages of legal language. I walked away, but I almost didn't. Here's what I wish someone had told me. Many of these annuities are sold by commission-driven advisors. That means they make thousands of dollars just for getting you to sign. Some don't care whether the product is right for you, just that it pays them well. And worst of all, you may already have what you need between your pension, Social Security, and a modest savings cushion. You may not need to lock up your money in a complicated insurance contract for the rest of your life. Annuities can have a place, but only if they're simple, low cost, and truly aligned with your needs. Don't buy one just because someone says it's what retirees should do. Read the fine print. Get a second opinion from someone who doesn't make money off your choice. And if you can't explain it in plain English, don't buy it. 2. Overpriced supplemental insurance. You don't need? When I first signed up for Medicare, the floodgates opened. Suddenly, I was getting calls, postcards, ads online, all telling me I needed extra insurance to stay fully protected. They made it sound like if I didn't buy now, I'd be left vulnerable, drowning in medical debt, or worse. So I panicked. I signed up for a high-end supplemental insurance plan, thinking I was being smart. It had a fancy name, a long list of coverage features, and as I found out later, a monthly premium that was way more than I needed to pay. For 2 years, I paid over $250 per month for coverage I barely used. Most of my basic needs were already covered under Medicare Parts E and B. I wasn't taking expensive prescriptions. I didn't need specialist visits every month. And yet, I was paying as if I did. No one told me that there were simpler, more affordable options. That Medigap Plan G or even a solid Medicare Advantage plan might have done just fine at half the cost. No one explained the difference clearly. They just pushed the plan that made the most commission. And let me tell you, the way these companies market to seniors is aggressive. Fear sells. They use phrases like, you could be stuck with a $10,000 hospital bill, or Medicare doesn't cover what you think. It's enough to make anyone nervous. But not all of it is true, or at least, it's not the full picture. What I learned is this: you absolutely need to understand your healthcare needs before buying extra coverage. Do you go to the doctor frequently? Do you take expensive medications? Do you have a history of serious illness? If not, a simpler plan may be enough and could save you thousands over time. Shop around. Use the Medicare Plan Finder. Talk to someone impartial. Don't just buy the first policy that shows up in your mailbox, because overinsuring yourself is a sneaky way to drain your retirement one monthly premium at a time. 3. Extended warranties for everything. It seems like everywhere you go these days, the appliance store, the electronics aisle, Even buying a recliner, they ask you, "Would you like the extended warranty with that when I was younger?" I'd usually say no, but after retirement, I started second-guessing myself. I thought, I'm older now. What if something breaks and I can't afford to replace it? So I started saying yes. Yes to the 3-year plan on the TV. Yes to the 5-year protection on the washer. Yes to the coverage for my new laptop, which I barely knew how to use. And guess what? I almost never used any of those warranties. The TV never broke. The washer worked fine. The laptop had manufacturer coverage for the first year. And after that, I barely used it enough to wear it out. What I didn't realize was that most extended warranties are just fear-based upsells. They play on our worry that something will go wrong at the worst time. But the math almost never works in your favor. For the amount you pay up front, often 10 to 20% of the item's price, you're usually better off putting that money in a repair savings fund and using it if something actually does break. And don't forget, many products already come with decent manufacturer warranties. If something's going to break, it usually does in the first year or two. After that, if it lasts 5 years, chances are it's built to last longer than the warranty itself. One time, I even tried to use a warranty I bought on a recliner. The fabric started tearing. I called the company, only to be told it didn't cover wear and tear. Apparently, sitting in a chair is considered normal damage. Go figure. My advice, don't automatically say yes to every warranty. Ask what's already included. Ask what the exclusions are. And most of all, ask yourself if this thing breaks. Can I afford to fix it or replace it without going broke? If the answer is yes, skip the warranty because those little $50, $80, and $150 add-ons, they add up. And before you know it, you've spent enough on protection plans to buy another appliance or, better yet, a weekend getaway, fancy home security systems with hidden contracts. When I retired and started spending more time at home, I began thinking more about safety. I live alone now, and I figured maybe it was time to invest in a home security system. That's when I started getting calls and mailers from companies promising 24/7 protection, instant emergency response, and even retiree discounts. It sounded smart, responsible. Even, I thought, I'm not getting any younger. Maybe I need this. So, I signed up with one of the big-name companies. Installation was quick. The touch-screen panel looked impressive, and the monthly price seemed manageable at first, but within a few months, I started noticing extra charges on my bill. A maintenance fee here, an equipment rental fee there, and buried in the fine print was a 3-year locked-in contract. If I canceled early, I'd have to pay nearly $600. The truth is, the system wasn't even that useful. Most of the alerts were false, the cat moving around, leaves blowing past a motion sensor, and when the alarm accidentally went off one evening, it took over 15 minutes for someone from the company to call me. I realized then that I was paying for peace of mind, but not actually getting it. Now, I'm not saying home security is a bad idea, but the way these systems are marketed to retirees is aggressive and sometimes predatory. They play on fear. They make you feel like you're unsafe just because you're getting older. And they sell you way more than you need. Today, I use a simple video doorbell and a few motion sensor lights. No contract, no hidden fees. And I feel just as secure, maybe more. Before you sign up for anything, ask, do I really need this level of monitoring? Is it worth the long-term cost? Are there better, simpler solutions? Because spending $50 or $60 a month for something you don't use just because you were scared into it is a quiet way to lose money every year. Number 5. Miracle Health Supplements. If you've watched any TV during the day lately, you've probably seen the ads. They show smiling seniors running up hills, dancing at weddings, or holding hands on the beach, all thanks to a pill they started taking a few weeks ago. It's always something new, a joint formula. Brain booster, heart helper, memory restorer. I'll be honest, I've bought a few. who doesn't want to feel better at 70? Your knees ache. Your memory isn't what it used to be. And the idea of reversing the clock with one little capsule sounds mighty appealing. But here's what I've learned: most of these supplements are long on promises and short on results. I once bought a bottle of turmeric pills that promised to relieve inflammation, reduce pain, and improve joint mobility. I took it religiously for 3 months. I felt no different, but I was out nearly $120. Then there was the brain supplement with ginkgo biloba and something called lion's mane mushroom. It was supposed to sharpen my memory and boost clarity. All it did was give me heartburn. The problem isn't that supplements are all useless. Some may help, depending on your body and your needs, but they're often marketed with bold claims that sound scientific, clinically tested. Doctor recommended, backed by studies without actual proof. And unlike real medicine, they're not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration the same way. I'm not a doctor, but I do believe in being honest with myself. I asked my primary physician what he thought. He told me most of these over-the-counter miracle pills don't hurt, but they rarely help, and you'd be better off focusing on diet, exercise, sleep, and hydration. So now, I take a few basics: a multivitamin, some vitamin D because I live in a cloudy area, and the occasional fiber supplement. But I steer clear of anything that promises to make me feel 20 again, because I know that's not how time works. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Don't let flashy ads and silver-haired actors in lab coats trick you into wasting your money. You're smarter than that. We all are. 6. High-end exercise equipment. After I retired, I told myself I was going to stay active. I'd seen what happens when people slow down too much. The body weakens. The joints stiffen. The weight creeps up. So, I made a commitment I was going to exercise at home every day, one afternoon. I walked into a fitness equipment store. The salesman was friendly, energetic, and clearly used to selling to folks my age. He showed me a top-of-the-line elliptical machine with heart rate monitoring, a Bluetooth, built-in screens, and a subscription to streaming workout classes. It was sleek, it was quiet, it was over $2,000. I bought it. At first, I used it regularly. I liked the idea of it, but after a couple of months, I started skipping days. Then I skipped weeks. Eventually, it just sat there, a very expensive clothes rack in the corner of my spare room. The truth is, I didn't need a gym-level machine to stay active. I needed consistency, not complexity. And I learned the hard way that buying something expensive doesn't create motivation. It only creates regret when you stop using it. Since then, I've simplified things. I walk every day. I do gentle stretches in the morning. I have a set of light dumbbells for basic strength work. It cost me less than $50 total. And you know what? I feel just as good, maybe better than I did when I was struggling through those touchscreen workouts. There's nothing wrong with wanting to stay fit. In fact, it's one of the most important things you can do in retirement, but you don't need a $2,000 machine to do it. You need something you'll actually stick with. So before you buy that treadmill, rower, or home gym setup, ask yourself, will I really use this? Can I commit to it long term? Or is there a simpler, more affordable way to stay active because health is worth investing in, but not if your money's going to dust under a machine you never turn on? 7. Luxury travel packages with hidden fees. After I retired, I told myself I deserved a vacation. And why not? I had worked for decades, raised a family, paid my taxes, kept my promises. It was time to enjoy life, see the world. Relax. Finally have me time. So, when I saw a glossy brochure in the mail for a senior luxury cruise package, I was hooked. It had pictures of smiling couples my age, walking on white sand beaches, dining under chandeliers, and sipping wine on deck while the sun set. The price looked decent. The words, exclusive, discount, and all-inclusive jumped out at me. I figured I was getting a great deal. What I got was a lesson in fine print. The base price was low. Yes. But once I started booking, the fees piled on port taxes, mandatory tips, optional upgrades that turned out to be not so optional, and charges for things I thought were included, like Wi-Fi and certain meals, the excursions extra, travel insurance required, airport transfers, another fee by the end. I paid almost double what I expected, and some of the experiences were underwhelming. The food was just okay. The tours were rushed, and many of the people on the trip were more interested in selling me jewelry and timeshares than helping me relax. I realized too late that I had paid a premium price for an experience that didn't match the promise. And worse, I could have planned a simpler, more personal trip for less and probably enjoyed it more. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't travel, if you can. And you love it, go for it. But don't let the word luxury trick you into overspending. The travel industry knows retirees often have some money saved and a desire to treat themselves. They design these packages to look irresistible, but they don't always deliver next time. I'll book directly. I'll read every detail. I'll ask for total pricing up front. And I'll make sure I'm buying memories, not marketing. 8. Tech devices made for seniors that are overpriced. I never considered myself a tech guy. I learned to use email in my 60s. I text with my grandkids, but I still type with one finger. So when I saw advertisements for smartphones made for seniors, I figured it would make life easier. Big buttons, simple screens, no confusing menus. It sounded perfect. I bought one. It was slow, limited, and cost more than a decent Android phone. Worse, I was locked into a service plan with limited coverage, and I couldn't download half the apps I wanted. The camera quality was poor, and I had to pay extra just to speak with a customer service agent. Turns out, made for seniors sometimes just means less functional and more expensive. Same goes for a few other gadgets. I tried a senior-friendly tablet that couldn't hold a charge, a magnifying screen for my TV that distorted the picture, and a one-button radio that barely got reception. These products are often marketed with emotional language independence, ease, safety, but many are cheap in build and expensive in price. Here's what I learned. You don't need special versions of everything just because you're over 65. Many mainstream tech products are easy to use once you get a little help setting them up. My daughter helped me choose a regular smartphone, not senior edition, and taught me the basics. It does everything I need and more. Plus, I'm not stuck in a high-cost, low-service plan. Technology can make life easier, but not if it frustrates you or drains your wallet. So don't fall for the senior label. Shop smart. Compare specs. Ask your grandkids, they'll give you an honest review faster than any ad ever will. Prepaid funeral or burial plans. Sold on emotion-y? This one's personal. Because when you hit a certain age, people start talking to you about getting your affairs in order. And it's not a bad thing, I believe, in planning ahead. But the way some companies approach funeral and burial plans, it's emotional marketing at its most manipulative. A few years ago, I went to a community presentation. The speaker was warm, respectful, and talked a lot about not leaving a burden on your family. I agree with that idea. But then he passed out brochures for prepaid funeral plans that cost several thousands of dollars up front. The sales pitch was heavy. Do it today. Peace of mind? Don't make your family guess. I almost signed on the spot, but something told me to wait. When I got home, I started reading the fine print. The plan locked me into one specific funeral home. If I moved or changed my mind, I might lose most of the money. There were fees for plan changes, and in some states, the money wasn't even protected by insurance or escrow. In other words, if the company went out of business. So did your plan. I ended up talking with a lawyer. He helped me draft a basic end-of-life plan. including a living will and written funeral preferences. I set aside some money in a separate savings account, not locked up, not at risk, and fully under my control. I'm not against planning. In fact, I think it's one of the kindest things you can do for your loved ones. But don't be pressured into signing expensive prepaid plans based on fear or guilt. There are safer, more flexible ways to prepare. Talk to someone you trust. Do your homework. And remember, your peace of mind shouldn't come with fine print. 10. Retirement seminars that lead to bad investments. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. Not every free seminar is free. A few years ago, I got an invitation in the mail. It said, "Exclusive Retirement Planning Dinner. Learn how to protect your assets." It was held at a nice steakhouse. The meal was free. The speaker wore a suit, and everything felt official. He used slides, graphs, even some statistics that sounded impressive. He talked about the market being too risky. He said annuities were the safe alternative. He mentioned protecting your legacy, avoiding taxes, and creating guaranteed income. And by the end of the presentation, several people around me were nodding. Some even signed up for follow-up meetings on the spot. I almost did too. But I decided to wait and do some digging. What I found shocked me. The seminar wasn't really about education. It was a sales pitch. The guy leading it wasn't a financial advisor. He was an insurance salesman. The products he recommended had high fees, long lock-in periods, and big commissions. In some cases, people were being encouraged to move their entire retirement savings into these products, often without understanding the consequences. Retirees are targeted because we have something others want: money that's been saved over decades. We're also more likely to trust, especially when the pitch sounds protective or personalized. These companies know that. They use our desire for safety and simplicity as a sales tool. Now, to be fair, not every seminar is a scam. Some are hosted by reputable advisors, but the ones that use fear, urgency, or phrases like "this offer is only for tonight," those are red flags. If someone's offering a free dinner, fine, enjoy the steak, but don't sign anything while the sauce is still on your plate. Take the materials home, read the fine print, talk to someone independent, someone who doesn't earn a commission on what you buy, because retirement isn't the time to take risks you don't understand. It's the time to protect what you've already earned, and no seminar, no matter how polished, is worth losing your peace of mind if you've made it this far. Thank you. That tells me you're someone who wants to make wise choices, not just for yourself, but for the people you love. Listen, I've bought things I didn't need. I've signed up for services that sounded smart and ended up being nothing but noise. I've made mistakes and I've learned from them. Retirement is a gift, but it doesn't come with a manual. You've got to think critically, ask questions, and most importantly, trust your gut. Just because someone calls something a retirement must-have doesn't make it true. What you don't buy can sometimes protect your future more than what you do. My hope is that sharing these 10 things helps you pause before you open your wallet, sign a form, or believe a sales pitch. You've earned your retirement. You shouldn't have to spend it untangling fine print or regretting purchases. Stay sharp, stay kind, and spend your money on what truly matters: your health, your peace of mind, and the people you love. We've got wisdom now. Let's use it.